Here we are with another session with about mental health. So our today's speaker, which is she is taking the second lecture. She is Christine. She is from Canada and she is the second year naturopathic student from Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine in Toronto, Canada. She is a graduate in. She has completed her bachelor's from about kinesiology in Ducks University from Saint Catharines. Her motto is to share all the knowledge that she can and she has. So, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and being here about discussing your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So, yeah, you can start your lecture.
Okay. Um, yes, so I'm Kirsten and I am in my second year of naturopathic medicine at the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine in Toronto, Ontario. I am in my second year and there's 4 years. So this will be my sixth year of school. And schooling takes a lot on a big toll on your mental health. Which is something that is very close to me and something that I've learned to really work with as I've gone through schooling. I didn't really notice it as much in my undergraduate studies. And maybe that was just because it wasn't as intense of a program. There wasn't as much expectations. But as I got into my schooling for naturopathic medicine, I definitely noticed that there was a little bit more pressure because there's so many different people who have so much knowledge and you always feel like there's so many people who know a lot more than you. And so there's a lot of that pressure that you feel in the program. There's a lot of information that you take at once and a lot of expectations in the program, especially in your first year. You go from taking 4 or 5 classes in your undergraduate studies each semester to going into 12 courses a semester in your first year at CCNM. And so I noticed that this was definitely a lot to take in. There was a lot of information and again, a lot of expectations. And there was just part of me that felt like I had a lot of imposter syndrome, I guess. I felt like I wasn't good enough to be becoming a doctor, to be in the program, to be working alongside so many people who have so much knowledge. And I always felt like I didn't have enough. I've never been the greatest in school, just marks wise. I don't test very well. But I know I'm very passionate about the program and I know that I have a lot of passion towards the end goal in the career of becoming a naturopathic doctor. And that's something I've really had to remind myself about, just that this program is a lot and that you can only do so much as one person. And you don't have to be the best person in the program. You just have to be trying your best. You just have to be working towards your goal, but you also have to take care of yourself because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're really not able to take care of other people. So that was something I really learned in first year. It was a tough time for me, mental health wise. I started dealing with a lot more anxiety. I even dealt with depression at certain points, and that was all very new to me. I had dealt with a little bit of anxiety back in my undergraduate studies, but nothing too much. And then it kind of really hit me hard. I moved to a whole new city by myself at a whole new school, and I didn't know anybody at all. I moved in with a new roommate that I didn't know. There was just a lot of different factors. And at first, it was very exciting, of course, but after a while, I think that excitement kind of wore off and the reality kind of hit me. And that's when I really started to feel it, especially during midterms in our first semester. That's when there was a lot more expectations. We had a lot of studying to do, a lot of tests to write. And it felt very scary. I think a big problem I had was I was labeling these exams as um, holding so much and being so intense compared to maybe what my undergraduate studies were. I've always been very nervous about testing, but this felt just a little bit more scary. And so I think I gave a little bit too much fear into it. And so that really led me to just kind of spiral into a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, a lot of negative thoughts, and just feeling like I wasn't going to be able to do the program. And then after midterms, I really just kind of felt because this was the first time I had so much to do. And then I went from having all this to do to nothing. To me that was very it was a lot. It was a lot for me to take, and I didn't know how to do nothing. And so it kind of went from one extreme of having too much to do to another where there wasn't enough to do. And so I felt like this really weighed heavily on me. And I was just having a lot of trouble with the program. I was having trouble going to classes, feeling very anxious going to classes, and having anxiety around studying, and then telling myself that I wouldn't be able to finish the program and that it wasn't something I was capable of doing. Again, imposter syndrome is something that a lot of medical students or students in general really face, because it's just, you always just feel like you're not enough, and that there's so much pressure. But I kind of started to realize that with help, I went to counseling and I talked to people. Once I started to open up to people, I realized that I wasn't alone. I think I isolated myself a lot. I didn't talk to anybody about my feelings. I just kind of told myself to keep going and to push through. But I realized that this wasn't a very effective approach, and that it didn't help me very much. So once I started to open up to people, especially people in my program, I realized that I wasn't the only one having these feelings. So I felt a lot less alone. And that's something I really encourage other students to do, is just to talk to your colleagues and your classmates, and people in similar areas of life about how you're feeling, because just this in itself can be very therapeutic. It can help you feel more connected to other people. Knowing that other people feel this way too, it makes you feel a little bit more normal, and not like you're the only one dealing with these problems. And then it feels a lot less scary to be dealing with these problems when you know that other people are. And so that's what I really found leading into my second semester of first year, is really just connecting with other people and making sure I was checking in with myself. I definitely didn't do that first semester. I really kind of just went with the flow of the program, but I didn't take care of myself as much and my mental health. So getting into second semester, I really started to build a routine of taking care of myself through journaling. Meditation is something that's really helpful for me, and it helps set my day up. I also like to do affirmations every few days, and intentions for my week. Setting little goals for myself and what I really want to put into the week. That in itself has really, really helped me to get through the program and feel more confident with myself, and to just feel more connected with myself. So I'm in a lot better of a place this semester. Even though the classes are quite difficult, I feel like I know myself more. I know when I need to take a break, and I know when it's important to stop. And when I can't handle anymore, I need to just put things down and take a break. Whereas last year I found that I didn't really do that. And so sometimes it can be easy as a student to tell yourself to just keep going, and that you'll stop later, but then eventually that catches up to you. So that's what I found, is that I need to just be honest with myself. And if I need to stop, even if the program is very intense, I need to take those breaks to really reconnect with myself. And I find that that's a lot more helpful for me. I feel like I'm in a better place. I feel more connected with myself and others in the program. And this in itself has really been helpful for me.
Yeah, actually, I think that almost every student goes through these phases in life, because we are quite hard on ourselves when we see competition around us. So, yeah, I can connect to you, and it's very good that we are hearing this out loud, because most of the time we feel that it is not quite normal, and I don't know if the person is feeling the same. So, yeah, thank you for saying it out loud, because people are not accepting it the way it is. They're being hard, and it gets more and more difficult if we store it up inside.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that we can really convince ourselves that nobody else is feeling the same way and that what we're dealing with isn't normal. But pretty much every student, I think, is dealing with it. And I think that a lot of people aren't as open about it because they're all feeling like they are scared to be open about it. Because it is scary to open up about mental health. It's still a very taboo niche topic, I guess, that people don't talk about as much. But I think that we're getting closer to being more open and normalizing it, which is really important. I think that as students, it is a really important thing for us to have, um, and to really make sure that the people around us are feeling okay too, because it's easy to look okay when you're not feeling okay inside. And that's the thing about mental health, right? It's not like physical health where you see what the person is going through. With mental health, you can't tell sometimes. So yeah, I think as a student, we all deal with this, and it's good to have people be open about it. And it was really scary at first, and it still is for me to sometimes be open about it. But I know that it's helped a lot of people, and I know that it helps me too. So I've kind of made a goal with myself to be as open as I can and to continue to let people know that it's okay to not feel okay sometimes. That's normal, but to make sure that you're communicating this to other people and that you have people to talk to about it, because dealing with that stuff alone is a little bit too heavy sometimes. So I think that being able to talk to people, whether that's somebody in your life that you trust, or it's a counselor or a therapist or whatever you need to help you, I think that can really make a big difference.
Yes, very true. So, I would like to know what all you did so that the people who are listening this and to whom we are going to share this, they will also know that these things will help us. Like, what all you used for betterment?
Sorry, for vitamins.
Betterment. I mean to say, like, what all therapies or what you did exactly, so that the people can know how to treat or how to deal this con-
Okay, okay,
uh,
yeah.
condition.
So what I found is that I like to build a routine into my day. This really helps me to feel like I have some sort of structure. So what's helped me lately is to have a morning routine. Every morning I wake up a little bit earlier than when my classes would start. And I think with classes being online, this is really important because it can be so easy to just wake up and go straight to class online. But to start your day before that is really helpful for me personally. And I think it can be helpful for other people. So I wake up a little bit earlier before class, and I will meditate first thing in the morning. This is like the first thing that I do because this really, really helped me. I like to use apps. This for meditating because this helps me the best to have somebody guiding me in my meditation. I like to use the app. It's called Balance. There's a lot of good guided meditations on there, but I know Headspace is a very popular one as well. And it's really helpful to just have somebody guide me through different meditations, meant for different things. They have them based on your mood or different goals that you have, which I really like. So I choose whatever I'm feeling like I need that day, and I'll meditate for 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes more if I feel like it. But also just being understanding with myself that not every day I'm going to feel like I want to do it. So just being understanding that it's not always going to be a perfect routine. And so I meditate, and then I typically will take out my journal and I will write um, 3 or 4 intentions that I want to focus on for the day or for the week, um, just to kind of give me a goal of what I want my week to look like and to give a little bit more purpose. I really, really like that. And then affirmations as well, because I find that confidence is something that I struggle with sometimes. And so I will write down 3 to 5 different affirmations and that apply to how I'm feeling and what I need to feel more of. and I will say them out loud to myself 3 to 5 times, just to really kind of get it in my head to make myself believe these things, because sometimes you can write them down, but it doesn't always mean that it, it sticks into your head. So I like to say them out loud to myself. And then my favorite thing is to go for a walk before classes. I just go for a short 5 to 10 minute walk outside. Sometimes I will listen to a podcast or music or nothing, just depending on how I'm feeling. And I'll just walk, and this kind of just helps me get my blood flowing. This helps me feel more focused and refreshed. I just find that if I go right into classes, I don't feel prepared. Like my head doesn't feel like ready to learn. So if I kind of walk and get moving, this kind of gets me a little bit more ready for classes. And those are the things in the morning that I really like to do before classes. But a lot of the times during the day, what I found is that I would have like negative thoughts like creep into my head, like I'm not capable, or I'm not going to be able to do it, especially during lectures when there was a lot of tough information and it felt very scary to learn. I thought I would never be able to learn it and that I wasn't able to do it. And I still have those moments, but I think I deal with them better now. I typically will counter those thoughts with more positive thoughts. So if I have a negative thought, I will say something positive that's the opposite of that thought. So kind of convincing my mind to believe the other way rather than the negative thought. And the more that I did that, the more I found that that's actually how my mindset was daily. And I was having a lot less of those negative thoughts. And also, I think I took away the power of those negative thoughts. So I don't feel, when those negative thoughts come up now, I don't feel as scared of them, and I don't feel like they're true. So sometimes they come up, but I'm able to convince myself that no, those aren't true. Those are just thoughts, and I don't have to actually engage with them. I don't have to believe them just because they're there, which has made a really big difference, because I used to kind of just believe everything that came into my mind like it was true. And then the more I thought like that, the more I spiraled into those negative thoughts more consistently. So I think it's all about how you train your mind. And it takes a lot of time. It's not easy, but to just be able to slowly use these small tools and apply them to your daily life, soon you'll be able to do them without really thinking about it. Um, those are what I really use in my daily life to make sure that I am able to get through school a little bit more easy, and that even though I still deal with mental health issues, it doesn't mean that it takes over my life, that I'm still able to control my life. And then I also make sure that I'm easy on myself, especially when I have a bad day, because those days do come up. So if there's days where I really just am having a tough day, instead of telling myself that I have to keep pushing through and that I have to be a certain way, I just kind of let myself um, just kind of be, literally just exist. And that kind of sounds really simple, but like some days I just need to let myself just be here, and that's all you can do some days. It's just like the life is too heavy sometimes, and so you just need to allow yourself to just breathe and just let go through the motions instead of just being engaged in everything. So some days I just let myself have those days, and I find that then I feel more ready for the next day, instead of pushing through that tough day and then just continuing to have tough days. It's easier to just let myself do nothing for one day and relax and reset my mind, and then I find that this really helps me to get back into things the next day.
Yeah, actually, we seek confirmations outside while main confirmation is within. So that's a very good thing that you focused on. We'll see if anyone has any questions. So if anyone feels any, they have any doubts or have any questions, please speak up.
Hello, myself is Shakha Mukhija, and I'm doing naturopathy in second year from the renowned College of Vishwasa in Bangalore. Okay, so your story is inspiring in your itself only. My question is, we know that the best approach for these people is counseling, right? And we know that one of the biggest challenge is that they are being scared that they will not be socially acceptable. How
Mhm.
they can communicate with people, they really feel it anxious and fear, like we can't communicate with people. So how someone can overcome that?
Um, I think that was a really tough thing for me as well when I first decided to go get counseling. It was kind of one of those things that I told myself that I don't need. My problems aren't as big as other people's. So why do I need it? Like typically when you think of counseling, you think, oh, somebody's problems are bigger than mine. Why would mine be important enough for somebody to listen to? But what really helped me was to remind myself that counselors and therapists are there to listen to our problems regardless of what they are. That's their job. They're not going to judge us. That's the best part about it, is you can talk to them about anything and they're a neutral person who doesn't know anything about you outside of therapy, and you can tell them about anything and they come in with a very neutral perspective, instead of, like, it's nice to talk to friends and family, but they always have a little bit of a biased approach, right? They know who you are and they know the people in your life. So to have somebody come from that perspective where they don't really know anything about you, that made me feel better. And just like telling myself that it's okay to go through it. It doesn't change who I am. And it's something that's really, really helpful for me. Like it changed my mindset. It made me feel better. I also don't like crying in front of people. I feel like a lot of people don't. So that is something I think a lot of people are worried about, is will they break down? And I mean, probably if you're holding a lot of information, and a lot of thoughts in your head, you might need to release it, emotionally. But in the end, like I said, it's this person doesn't know who I am. They see so many people cry all the time anyways, so I'm not like, it's not new. And it's also good to cry. It kind of made me feel like it's okay, because I think I was holding so much of that energy, that negative energy inside, that I just needed to let it go. And it just felt good. And it is scary. Like I said, I don't like crying in front of people, so it's like a little bit weird at first. But then you kind of just tell yourself that it's normal, and these people deal with this all the time. They're not judging you. They're the best person you could do that in front of, because again, they don't know who you are. Um, and I think that was a good approach to take it. And to just kind of take the first step, like even if it takes telling yourself that you'll go to one session, and if you don't like it, you don't have to go. If that's what it takes to get yourself there, then that's okay. And then maybe you realize that you feel better after the session, and it did help, so maybe you want to go to a second one, and then it kind of just like spirals into that until you realize that it's part of your routine and it feels a lot more normal. So I think taking that first step is really tough. Again, like you said, it's one of those things where it doesn't feel normalized yet. It's still one of those things that it's like, oh, should I go to counseling? Do I really need it? But I think that we could all benefit from it regardless. And I think that more people should do it, honestly. And it makes a huge difference. And I'm glad that I did it.
Yes. And one more question is, sometimes we are not able to recognize the symptoms. We just think that this is our part of the life and we have to face it. Yeah, it happens with everyone. So, how did you get to know about your problems and how someone should get it?
Hmm. Um, I think that over the years, I just started to become very mindful of myself, and my feelings. But it took a lot of time and a lot of work. I definitely wasn't very mindful, probably even at the beginning and middle of my university career. But just like through life experiences, I found that being more connected with myself helped me. And I started to notice more. Actually, seeing a naturopathic doctor was one of the things that really helped me to start to be more mindful of these symptoms and of different things that I didn't notice. Sometimes having that outside perspective of somebody being able to tell you, oh, like this might be connected to this, and this is what you're dealing with, can really open your eyes, and you can kind of start to pay more attention to that. Um, so sometimes I think, like you said, we just kind of push aside like our symptoms and or what we're dealing with, and we don't really even notice that we're going through it. Sometimes it can kind of creep up slowly in our lives. And that's typically, I feel like, how mental health works, is that it just slowly kind of comes until all of a sudden it kind of explodes. And so I just kind of started, I mean, it did take me kind of exploding to really notice it. But I would recommend to just kind of be mindful every day of how you're feeling and to check in with yourself. This is a really big thing that I do now, and I wish that I did earlier. It's just like even taking a minute of the day in the middle of the day, at night, or whenever it is, to just ask myself how I'm feeling. And how today was for me, and what I could use more of, what I could use less of. Just small things, integrating those into your life, I think, can make you notice things that might seem small and minuscule. And you can start to kind of realize, oh, like I am dealing with this, and this is something that maybe I need to talk about and need to recognize. I think that's what helped me the most, is just integrating mindfulness.
Nice. And one more question: how you motivated yourself for meditation? Actually, I want to do it, but I think like, yeah, nothing gonna happen, or it will take some years to gain that spiritual peace. So how did you motivate yourself for that?
Yeah, that's something I've struggled with for a really long time. I tried meditating, and then like I would get into it, and then I would like stop doing it, and go back and forth with that, because it is so tough to get into it. Um, but I think when I really started to deal with my mental health issues, I realized how much it really helped me. So I think that even being mindful after you meditate, just kind of being like, oh, how do I feel after that? And if you notice how good you feel, sometimes that can be a good motivator. Also, just maybe like, I found that sometimes we have so much expectations with it, because like meditation, it's this amazing thing, and it really is. But going into it with that, oh my gosh, so much is going to happen in so little time, um, is it's sometimes like underwhelming when you get out of it and you're like, I don't feel I don't feel this amazing change that we all talk about, right? So I think just kind of going into it and realizing that there's not going to be like this significant change over a short period of time, maybe will make it feel a little bit less underwhelming, because sometimes we have expectations, and if they're not met, then we're kind of like, do I really want to do this? Also, I find using apps, like I was saying, can be really helpful. I know some apps have meditation challenges, and that kind of actually really helped me get into meditation. It was using apps that have like daily challenges, and like just little incentives, little reminders sent to my phone, to say like, do your meditation today. And then just kind of doing it. And even if some days I really didn't feel like it, just like telling myself that even if I don't get anything out of it, to just lay there or sit there and just let it happen. And then also, I feel like we also expect our mind to just completely be clear, but typically when I'm meditating, I have so much going on in my mind. Sometimes, like, even though I meditate pretty consistently now, I find that I still have my days where I'm meditating and I'm like still thinking of a million things all at once. But I find that even if that's the case, sometimes I still come out feeling a little bit less overwhelmed than I went into. So just like those small changes, and just staying and consistent with it, even on the days when you don't feel like doing it, even on the days when you feel like maybe it's not benefiting you, just pushing through on those days, because eventually you'll see a little bit more consistently that change in your mindset, and physically and mentally. So it takes a lot, and it has taken me a lot of times of just like doing it and then not doing it. So just kind of sticking with it as much as you can, I think, is the best way to do it, and just like having small expectations with it, and realizing that it's not always going to be like a huge change, and that it's okay if you literally just sit there and nothing happens, if you're still thinking a lot. And like meditation doesn't have to be necessarily sitting there either. Like meditation can be done in so many different ways. Like I find that if I do yoga, yoga is a form of meditation for me. It's staying connected to myself. Sometimes I like to just go sit on the beach, and I literally just like, I don't close my eyes. I don't do any like breathing exercises. I literally just sit there and I just kind of like think about what I see or think about my day. And I think like small things like that can be considered meditation as well. So if you find that meditation, sitting there and doing the breathing, and not saying anything for a certain amount of time doesn't work for you, I think that just finding a different form of meditation can be helpful too.
Thank you so much. Your story is really inspiring. I think I can motivate myself and my friends too. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, even I find it very useful because mostly we are seeking outside while we can actually find every answer within. Because, like you said, meditation itself is such a small thing. Like we can just sit there, but it brings about so much changes, and it's very inspiring that you are doing it, and you told of your struggles, because not everyone is actually saying that yeah, we had that problem and it is okay, because we want to hear success stories now. That's very common. So thank
Hmm.
you for sharing all the nooks of each and everything that you faced and being inspiring here. So thank you so much for inspiring our mental health and focusing on that.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it and letting me share my story. It means a lot, and I'm glad that I can help people and just talk about it and hopefully help people feel a little bit more open about mental health.
Yeah, thanks. Because this inferiority complex is what we have built for ourselves. No one is actually going to impose us under it, but we accept it. So that's it. That's what is making us difficult about accepting other things than the problem that we are facing.
Yes, I
Thank
totally
you
agree. Thank you.
very much, and we will hope to meet you soon again and connect to you in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank thank you so much. It was nice connecting with all of you and being able to talk with you. I really appreciate it.